Alright, hi everyone. So this is my first video here on this YouTube channel. For those of you who don't recognize me, before this, I used to write for a blog called Take This Personally. Now the reason I stopped writing blogs on there was just because I got really busy. I am a student, so I don't have a lot of free time on my hands, and the last thing I want to do after writing 6 essays is get on my computer and write another blog post. But I do really like talking about music and I miss it, so I decided to maybe try my hand at starting a YouTube channel. Anyways, yeah, so I'm Sam, and let's get into it. So for those of you who read my blog, you might know that some of the things that I post about the most often is new releases. So most of what I'm going to do on this channel is probably talking about my favorite new releases that come out every week. And so I've done that exactly this week. I have a whole list here of a whole bunch of things I want to talk about. I've chosen 9 really great albums to share with you guys that I hope you'll like. This was a pretty decent week in terms of new releases. A whole bunch of great stuff came out, a whole bunch of really anticipated stuff came out, so I'm sure a lot of this you guys will be able to find some enjoyment in it. Before I get into it, I do want to mention 2 releases that I won't talk about this week are the 2 new Cold World EPs, Nostalgia and Interludium. That's just generally because I'm not a huge fan of Cold World. I mean, they're a great band and all, but I just feel that I'm done with them after Melancholy. It spawned just a huge shitstorm of like unoriginal DSBM bands, and it kind of really killed it for me. And I have checked out these new EPs, but like they're not really my thing. That doesn't mean it won't be yours though, which is why I'm mentioning it here. I know a lot of you are probably fans of Cold World, so anyways, go have at it. If you want to check out those 2 EPs, they did come out on the 23rd, so yeah, that's something you can go listen to. Anyways, let's talk about my favorite releases this week. We're gonna go from number 9 all the way to number 1, number 1 being my favorite of the week. So the first thing I want to talk about this week is Disgust. Disgust is a little tricky to find information on. There's not a lot of information out there for them. I do believe they're from Quebec. Anyways, they're a sludge band. They just put out their debut album. You can go check that out. I really enjoyed it. One thing I found about this album was it was very post-apocalyptic sounding, and it was really dissonant. It's really dissonant sludge, so if you're into that kind of stuff, then this is definitely for you. The guitar work is amazing. This is the thing that definitely stood out the most about this album. But the main thing that stood out to me too is that I think this album sounds like these guys have a lot of potential. It sounds like a band that has yet to come together. In the next few years, I bet we'll hear some stuff from these guys that's amazing. Right now this seems a little premature, but it is an extremely well put together album. Just lacks a little bit of maturity that I'm sure is going to come from these guys in the future. So that's Disgust with MMXVIII. The next album I want to talk about is Thou with their new album Ria Silvia. So here we go. Thou have released probably 40 things since they first came around in 2005. This is not the first thing they're going to release this year. They actually have another full length coming on August 31st. So if you really like Ria Silvia, then you're in luck because these guys are about to put something else out. Anyways, so Ria Silvia is an EP, and it's a really good EP. It was released on Death Wish Incorporated, and it's the best way to describe this, I guess, would be experimental sludge. It is quite experimental, but it has a very creepy feel to it, which I really like. Spooky kind of creepiness is not really something that you hear a lot in sludge, so it is a nice refresher. They have 6 songs on this EP, and the last one is actually a Crowbar cover, and it's called The Lasting Dose. So this isn't a very long album, but I mean that's the point because it's an EP, not a full length. Anyways, if you're into this, then great, because they have another one coming out in August. So yeah, you can check that out, and that was my number 8 favorite album of the week. The next album I want to talk about is from Belgian post-Black Fiends Imbellumini. They've released another one. The last one was Nausea. It was about existentialism, which is excellently titled. Anyways, this one is not about philosophy anymore. This one's actually about poetry. So for this one, hang on, let me just check my notes here. That's what I'm doing when I'm looking over here, by the way. Yeah, this one is based on a poem, Le Voyage by Baudelaire, and it comes in 3 parts. So each part is about 20 minutes long. I think one of them is 18 minutes. But each part kind of just explores a different aspect of the poem. They're all slightly different from each other, but overall, this whole album feels very dreamlike and ethereal, which is, of course, common with post-black. But this is, if I had to compare the atmosphere of this album, it's kind of like being in the eye of some kind of massive storm. It's very beautiful, very peaceful, but at the same time, kind of a reminder that there's chaos all around, which I think is wonderful. I am a fan of Candelabrum. They've released a lot of really great stuff over the years. Yeah, this one I'll probably be playing, a couple times in the coming weeks. Anyways, the next album that I'm going to talk about, number 6, is from a UK band in Ferrum, and this is their debut release, I believe, so they haven't released anything else before. And this comes from Blackwood Productions, so they've already got it out with a label, which is awesome, but I don't really know too much about this band, because they're, this is their first release ever, so information is a little hard to find. The way this album, it honestly kind of reminds me of Life Lover a little bit. They have a synth / keyboard thing going on. Just they add little accents every once in a while with that, and that is really Life Lover to me. Yeah, it's an EP, and it came out on the 23rd as well. Lots of great releases on the 23rd this week. 27th too. Yeah, EP, these guys are from the UK again. One of the things that stands out about this album to me is the bass, for sure. The guy, whoever's playing bass, is really killing it on this album. There's a lot of really fantastic bass lines, and unlike a lot of black metal, the bass is pretty prominent actually. It's very well used, and it really holds the whole thing together. So that is fantastic, and yeah, absolutely, I hope these guys are gonna do more. The next thing that I am going to talk about is Drawn and Quartered. So you guys probably know these guys. They have a whole bunch of releases. I think this is their 7th full length. Anyways, I believe they're from Seattle, but yeah, these guys, unapologetic death metal. So the strongest point of this album is the riffs. They've got a lot of really great riffing going on in this album. If you like Morbid Angel or Dead Congregation or Immolation, then these guys are definitely for you. They're a little less aggressive on this album than they were on Feeding Hell's Furnace. On this album, they're more focusing on, really dirty, slow, just filthy riffing, and it's just got a really nice, disgusting atmosphere, really filthy stuff. So I really like that. I tend to prefer that over the aggressive stuff, just, my personal preference. So if that's you too, then you should be pretty happy about this release. Anyways, the next release I'm going to talk about is from Frontier, really noisy sludge with a lot of electronic elements. Anyways, Frontier are, how shall we put it, not a band to listen to if you have a headache. It's absolutely aggressive front to back, just pounding stuff. Although this new release, Unloved, is a little bit more, it's got more to it than Orange Mathematics. They have a few different sides to them that they're actually displaying on this one. None of it is radically different, like you can still tell these guys are the same, and they're still kicking ass, and still definitely don't want to listen to this if you have a headache at all. But it's absolutely fantastic stuff, and it really sounds like they're exploring some more aspects of their potential here. The next thing I'm going to talk about is Arcus, a Ukrainian band. This album came out on the 27th, and it is extremely creepy, is the best way to say it. These guys, they've managed to swerve around a lot of black metal cliches with this one. The atmosphere is very soft, but disturbing in a lot of ways. It's nothing too fast or aggressive, and it's also nothing really that you could really describe as slow. It's mostly just a mid-paced album, but it's done very, very well. It actually was just kind of a slow grower for me. This album took a few listens for me to really get, but now that I do get it, I realize it's an experience album. It's not so much an album to focus on every single one of the musical details. The best thing to do is just lie down and either put this on really loud through a speaker or just crank it in your headphones and just lie there with your eyes closed and let it just scare the shit out of you, because it's definitely gonna do that. They're pretty unique. This album is very, very original, so it's hard to compare to anything else, but it's got a really kind of suffocating atmosphere, but not too much. It's just very nicely done, very well balanced, but the goddamn vocals are terrifying, I have to say that. Anyways, yeah, that's Disgust with Somnambulistic Visions. The next album I'm going to talk about is Bohsma, and they came out with their album The Chthonic Rituals on the 23rd. And this is a fantastic release. It's death doom, very heavy on the death side of the spectrum. It's great. So if you're into Asphyx or Autopsy, Bolt Thrower, this is definitely something for you. It's huge, it's cavernous, it's got a lot of great riffs on it, absolutely stellar, fantastic. So if you like death metal or you like death doom, these guys are going to be for you. A lot of diversity going on. It's a great album. You can really sit through it from front to back without ever feeling like there's certain tracks that, you know, aren't very strong. So yeah, Bohsma is my number 2 today, and this brings me to number 1, which is the most exciting part. Honestly, I've been waiting this entire video to talk to you about these guys because I'm really, really excited about this one. And this is Candelabrum with their new album, Portals. Candelabrum, it's always exciting when they put something else out. If you like Black Silice, you guys are gonna enjoy this. I have this theory, well, me and a couple of friends of mine, we have this theory that they actually share some members. The vocals are too eerily similar between those two bands. And of course, both of them are from the same scene in Portugal, so it is plausible. Anyways, these guys are exactly what you want from raw black metal. The synth really pushes the atmosphere to like below freezing, so it's extremely chilling. I don't really have too much to say about this because it's one of those things that just speaks for itself. So this is, yeah, if you like raw black metal at all, this is pretty much mandatory for 2018. So do check it out. That's Candelabrum with Portals. Anyways, so I hope you like this video version of new releases. I'm kind of experimenting with it still. I'm used to writing, so I might have to iron out a few kinks here first. I still am working with, you know, my equipment, trying to figure out how to get the best possible recording for you guys. Anyways, hopefully this is something I can continue doing because it's a process that I enjoy a lot more. And yeah, I will try to release a whole bunch of new videos. I might release one talking about this channel and like what I plan to do with it. But yeah, this is my first new releases video for this channel. I might go into some other stuff too, like I might talk about, you know, if you read my blog, I have a whole bunch of mini-series kind of spin-offs. So I might go into that a little bit as well. But yeah, these are my new releases from the 21st to the 28th. So this is, yeah, hopefully you guys find a lot of stuff that you enjoy here. There's a lot of stuff on this list that I'll be probably listening to for months to come, especially Candelabrum. Candelabrum is, like, not gonna lie, probably gonna be on my end of the year list. So do check that out. And again, if you're a fan of Black Silice, then these guys, pretty much mandatory for you. So yeah, do check this all out, and I hope you have some great listens.